Ladies and gentlemen, the podcast is alive. The podcast is well. Z is listening to headbanger music in his freaking earphones.
Season 2. We might as well call it season 2. We went on a little winter break.
Yeah, season 2.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's about 30 episodes each season then.
Yeah, maybe that's something we can do. Maybe it keeps the audience keeps the audience fresh.
Well, Z, we'll see how much an audience we get on this one. But Who Are These Guys is back from about a 3-week hiatus.
Ooh.
And Z, if you want to do the audience a favor and take off your hat and they can see that first part of the hair.
Yeah. And we've talked about this in videos past. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. So,
well, Z's the front of his hair looks like string cheese or string beans.
Yeah. Well, whatever that has to do with anything we're going to talk about in this video, and whatever that has to do with anything on your daily life.
Yeah. Just saying, Z. Just saying. But we're coming on here. We have a few things to talk about, and it's not like a specific topic, but it's kind of a specific theme that it's going to be throughout this video.
Yep. Now,
as you can see, I have a little bit of a new background here. I'm in a different room in my house. We're going to be upgrading the studio.
Yep.
So as of right now, it's kind of a basic background, but probably next time we're on here, you'll see a whole different setup on my end, and it will look better.
Upgrading the facility, upgrading the studio, just quite frankly, upgrading the content. If you guys go to his channel, you guys will see he probably had his highest viewed video ever of him just absolutely going off, and that's what we're gonna do in this video. But before we get there, check out his channel, his videos. Ed and I are still streaming 3 times a week down to my channel. So if you want to see us more often, if not, then that's cool too. But anyways,
it's up to you guys.
Anyways, it's a mid-December day. And how you feeling over there up in just a worthless town?
Well, there's definitely not a spot to. It's not a hot spot up here.
No, it's not.
But it's the weather's a little decent. It was pretty warm yesterday for some reason. Other than that, it's been pretty cold. Surprised we haven't had really much snow here so far. But it's definitely going to come. But ready for Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. This is that time of year. My favorite time of the year, honestly. So this is kind of a Christmas, little Christmas video. Z's pretty much like the Grinch because he never gets good gifts. He got binoculars last year. He's probably going to get a pair of Mickey Mouse underwear this year.
Never forget it.
And Z has no idea where those binoculars went.
No, I have no idea. I mean, I'm pretty sure I donated them. So, today's a mid-December day. In case you guys know where N lives, I'm not going to say exactly on the internet where he lives, but he lives in Pennsylvania. So, today is a mid-December day. I have my Ravens jersey on today. The Ravens do play, and I'll be driving down to Jacksonville in about 4 hours. So, I'm pretty excited for that. And thoughts on, before we get into talking about load management in the NBA, why it's just rooting every ounce of, Adam Silver's bald head and, just the legacy of LeBron James. Would you like to talk about, the state of the Pittsburgh Steelers being 7-7, Matt Canada being fired because we haven't talked about that yet, and quite honestly, them on pace to have their probably first losing season in a very long time.
Yeah.
Whatever this guy's looking at.
Yeah.
Oh, well, my baby wipes didn't fully work this morning.
Yeah, they always work. They always work.
Yeah. But by the way, guys.
Yeah.
So, we exchanged gifts just while we were playing just 2K last night. I got Ann and Kelsey some nice sweaters and hoodies that they can wear up in the weather they live in. They got me like a customized light, if you will, with my gamer tag on it. But that's not the point. The point is that Ed went on Amazon, and Ed went on Amazon and bought Johnson's baby powder. And I probably should have saved it for the video, but I literally threw it away the next day because it was probably that big. Right. And I'm not gonna lie, it was, and I gotta give a round of applause on that one. It was a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it's funny, he says I cry when I game, when I do this, when I do that. And it's funny if you guys go to my channel and watch us stream, he cries more than me now.
Well, it's hard to play a broken game.
Well, that's the excuse every time from you.
I was considering the things I was considering getting Z, because like I knew that I was going to get him like a main gift at least, but I wanted to also send him something that would be kind of funny but would make sense. So I was considering getting him either a single diaper and get it sent, 2 bird seeds.
Yep.
Because Z doesn't look like a bird. And
Yeah, right.
I mean, we pretty much call him every name in the book when it comes to a bird. I was considering, what was the other thing? Baby powder, obviously I went. And I was considering getting a binky. So it was going to be one of those 4, and I looked up 3 out of the 4. I didn't look up the bird seeds. But the baby powder was the cheapest. It was like $1.80. So he's right there with his brother.
yeah, my brother. Oh man.
Yep. So that's just the reality, folks. So from toucan to pelican to chicken to ostrich.
Yeah, you're right.
Beakhead, beak face, long nose, you name it. So,
and how's it feel to have 20 cents to your name?
Yeah, 20 cents my name.
Well, so again, our video's not going to be about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I just wanted to hear N's thoughts on it real quick, about just the horrendous season that they've had. And yes, I'm saying horrendous.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. You let people say, "Oh, well, they're 7-7," and I mean, like the other teams are worse. No. They honestly should not be 7-7.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the things I'm gonna say is pretty reciprocated in the sense of what I've said on my videos, stuff like that. And honestly, the fact that I don't really have the care toward the team right now, it's not gonna be a rant like I had on my video after they lost to the 2-win Cardinals 3 weeks ago. But really, really in a nutshell, this season was supposed to be a year of taking a step forward from last year. Last year, they went into the season with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback and drafted Kenny Pickett, and they had George Pickens and pretty poor offensive line and Deontay Johnson and a young Pat Freiermuth and a defense that did not exceed expectations last year. So you're supposed to go into this season with taking a step forward with your young development, with some of the additions you made on the defense. That was supposed to be better for them as a whole, and it has not. And so pretty much this has been a step backwards for them. And especially as you're kind of starting to end, as you're trying to kind of build back, having a future for yourself, that's what you don't want to happen. And that's happened for them. So the fact that your young quarterback has failed to develop, and the fact that you have not gotten better, but you have regressed overall as a roster, overall as a team, is very, very concerning.
Players calling each other out in the locker room.
Yep.
Players not blocking on the field.
Yep.
Not
You see the lack of effort.
Mm-hmm.
You see the lack of effort on the field. You can look at Deontay Johnson. You can look at George Pickens, 2 guys that ultimately show no heart or will in the game. But anyway, they have regressed. They have set themselves back. And overall, it's been a failure of a season. And they've lost 3 in a row, 2 to 2-win teams at home. And then they lose to the Colts, who are a decent team on the road. And once again, only score 13 points.
I want you guys to realize what he just said, because he said that quickly. They were 7-4 or whatever. They had 2 straight home games against 2 teams that were 2-10. 2 and 10.
Yeah.
And they lost both of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lost both of them.
that's
But
bad.
there's people that still think that the coach should be safe.
Yeah, I mean that's bad. Really bad.
That's horrific. That's absolutely horrific. And I'm pretty sure they're the first team in NFL history to lose back-to-back 2-win teams that are 8 games under 500.
Well, at least you're in the history books again.
Yeah. So anyway, this season was supposed to go in the way, not where they were a Super Bowl contender, but where that they were moving forward in their direction of their future. And they have failed to do that. And even though they found themselves at 7-4, they have barely been getting by this year. Their offense has been historically bad. And they've been getting by in ways that we're not going to be able to sustain. And you're seeing it play out right in front of your face. So the Steelers decided to fire their offensive coordinator, who never should have been brought back. He was never qualified to be an offensive play caller in the NFL. But because the Steelers are lazy and too loyal to their tradition, they have to hire from within their organization. And they hired Matt Canada 3 years ago. And each year, the offense has gotten worse.
Mm-hmm.
So they fired him mid-season, which nobody really expected to happen because they don't do that. That was the first time they fired a coach since World War II in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
So that's all you got to know on that.
I was trying to think of a joke on that, but I couldn't think of one.
Yeah, well, Z buttholes might get tight. So that was the first time they did that. And then they had a 400-yard performance the week after they fired him. And I think it brought a lot of a lot of people to become cautiously optimistic that maybe this could be a little bit of a turn in the season. And it's just as bad still. And really, at this point, there's really nothing you can. Whoops. Are we good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. But it kind of fans to that level of being cautiously optimistic after that 400-yard performance, and the offense is pretty much still set in the same way that it is, which was kind of expected, but maybe it would have been a little better without Canada. But still, nonetheless, there's not a whole lot they could have did at this point. So really, what's just frustrating is the fact that they have failed to develop their young talent. They failed to move forward with the roster that they built this offseason. They've put all this money into the defense, and it's one of the worst defenses in the league. They're one of the bottom teams in major defensive statistics. Their offense is historically bad, and they are just putrid to watch. And honestly, like, the Steelers have had bad games over the years, but they're at a point right now where it's just disgusting. It's disgusting where they're at. It's disgusting the performance that they put out on the field. It's disgusting that these guys get paid all this money to not care, to not get better, to lack passion. And the team overall is just at a crossing roads. And I told Z this last night. This is at the boiling point, because when you look at the last 6 years, the Steelers have not won a playoff game since 2016. So when you look at each year after that, the voices started getting louder each year that there needs to be things to happen. There needs to be change. And now it's kind of all come up to a boiling point where there's really no return. Like, you have to ultimately make huge decisions this offseason. And I'm not somebody that roots for my team to lose, but it's just better off if they do. The last 3 games, it's honestly better off that they do for their own sake. And I'm not sitting here, oh man, I'm sitting at the edge of my seat, hoping that we're going to beat the Bengals at home so we can get to 8-7 and jump them in the division, and then go to Seattle and win, and then hoping the Ravens rest their starters so we can win 10 games, get in the playoffs. No. I'm not some of the Steelers shills out there. That's not going to accomplish anything.
Nope.
And there's you struggle.
And there's a lot of them that follow your channel. There's a lot of them.
Well, see, I think I think a handful of them are on the same page as I am at this point.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so the Steelers, are just at a big crossroads on what they have to do next year. And it's going to be the biggest offseason for them in quite a while because they're going to have to really be aggressive with their coaching search. Don't know what's going to happen with Mike Tomlin, if he's going to coach again next year and they're going to keep him on his contract or move on. But talent has to be overhauled as well. Salary needs to be cut. Dead weight needs to be cut. So there's a handful of things that are going to happen, but I think they can get to the point next year of what this year is supposed to be, should be next year. And I think they can get to that point, but they have to play their cards right. They have to be aggressive because honestly, you can't just be staying pat with where you're at. And that's what the Steelers have ultimately done over the years. And it's been catching up each year. And this year is kind of really that final line that, okay, we have not invested in this position as much. We have not invested in this position as much. We've been keeping the status quo. We've been keeping the coaching the same in the sense of going in our own organization, people with the same mindsets, with the same ideas, people that Mike Tomlin can micromanage. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. Mike Tomlin is one of the worst coaching trees in the NFL. When you look at the last, let's just look at the coordinators. Okay, Matt Canada and Terrell Austin. Before that, it was Randy Fichtner and Keith Butler. Before that, it was Todd Haley and Keith Butler / Dick LeBeau. So Dick LeBeau was a legend in himself. He was there before Mike Tomlin. He's not a part of Mike Tomlin's coaching tree. But when we look at his coaching tree, it's Todd Haley, kind of. I mean, Todd Haley's kind of coached around the league anyway before then. But Keith Butler, Randy Fichtner, Matt Canada, Terrell Austin. That's absolutely horrific.
Yep.
That's horrific. So to me, the big thing is your coaching. I think that's the first thing in this offseason is getting your coaching right, getting your coaching staff right. And after that, I think you have to have a conversation with your quarterback room, 100%. You have to cut the dead weight off your roster. You have to add a little bit in free agency, and you got to draft well again. And then you let that play out and everything. But really the ultimate goal is to steer the ship in the direction of starting to open your window for your future. That's how it has to be. Because if you're going to stay in this point of mediocrity and staying stagnant and staying stale, you're not going anywhere. The NFL has changed over the years, and Mike Tomlin has failed to adapt. He's failed to change. The Steelers have failed to change their ways, and now it's catching up. With them having a new general manager, this year was his first offseason. I thought he did some good things and did some things that normally the Steelers front office would not do. So I have confidence in him to do even more this offseason, but it ultimately comes down to the owner. It comes down to the owner stepping in, putting a foot down, and recognizing as well they have to completely go in a different direction than what they've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and anybody that disagrees with that, I don't know what to tell you because that's not even an opinion. What I'm stating is not an opinion. That is completely factual. Yeah, that's completely factual. So you can appreciate it as well. Like myself, I've liked Mike Tomlin throughout his tenure. I've appreciated what he's done. I think he's done a lot of good things. He's never been a perfect coach. There is no perfect coach in the NFL. But his main issue has been failing to adapt the way the league has been adapting, failing to adapt the way coaching in the NFL nowadays is adapting. And it's the same problem with Bill Belichick in New England. They want to continue to do their things their way and think they can get by with it and that they can win with it. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen anymore. Everything comes to an end. Things change over time. And that's how it goes. So that's been the biggest thing. And the fact that Tomlin has failed to adapt each year, the last 6-7 years, as the NFL has changed by the year, well, it's finally catching up to you. Same way with just the Steelers organization and front office and everything. So it's going to be a big offseason, probably their biggest offseason in quite a while.
Yeah, and I'm gonna quickly transition off that, and as people from his channel that are obviously big Steeler fans and they're brainwashed, and I can say many other things, and I can say and I can say many names.
Yeah, they're brainwashed.
But I'm gonna quickly transition off that off a point that N said because it's really gonna describe, or it's really just a perfect phrase on what we're gonna talk about, and that's when it comes to essentially players just getting paid and not putting any product on the field, hence transitioning to the court. Right, that background right there that you're seeing, or not pointing at my posters, that background right there, right? Bradley Beal, many other players that I will name that I can't even count on two hands. Okay. and this is the part where I'm gonna get mad because I'm a Suns fan, but this is the part where En's also gonna get mad because he used to be a huge NBA fan, and along with me as well, of course. But and I don't even know where to start on this other than let me start with the Suns, because that's gonna be the focal point of the conversation. I'm not going to go over their whole offseason, but the Suns traded away pretty much all the talent that they drafted to bring in Kevin Durant and bring in Bradley Beal. I'm not going to go over who they traded. I'm not going to go over who they signed. It doesn't matter. Okay, because at the end of the day, that big three, Booker, Durant, and Beal, was what was supposed to be the next LeBron, Wade, and Chris Bosh. Right? And guess what, guys? We're about 27 games in the season, and they've played 2 games with each other. Two games. Right. 2 games. So, and here's the issue. 1, it's the fans. 2, it's the ownership, and 3, it's because it's a player league. Right, so the players do what they want. They sit out for weeks. They rack up paychecks. They sit on the bench. They come back in the game. They get hurt again. Right, they're not even committed to playing the game. Right, the fans will sit there on Twitter and be like, "Oh, just rest them." Oh man, oh god, of course we're cursed. Just no, just no.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and if you're one of those fans that loves seeing Harden go to the Clippers, that loves seeing Kyrie get traded left and right to different teams, right? Then you are the perfect example of what is wrong with the NBA product nowadays. And going back to this Bradley Beal thing again, before I let you say your part on it, I'm gonna say the first part where I never wish an injury upon a player. And if there's an injury prone player throughout his career, that sucks. I'm not saying a player doesn't want to be out on the court, the baseball field, the football field, the ice. I'm not saying a player doesn't want to be out there, okay? Because I'm sure that's not in their blood, that's not in their heart, that they don't want to play the game, right? But it's the fact that this is who Bradley Beal is. The guy's only 30 years old. You traded for him. You traded everything for him, right? And he's all smiling on the bench. Oh, he comes back in. Oh, there's 2 rolled ankles. Oh, now he's out for 3 weeks. Oh, he comes back in. Oh, his back tightened up. Oh, now he's out for 3 weeks. Oh, and now he's having some knee tightness. Oh, he's out for 3 more weeks. It's like, why do people not realize this? This is a joke.
Yeah.
This is a joke. And we got good young players. Yeah. Who? Nasir Little? Who? Yeah. Jordan Goodwin. Who?
Yeah.
Like I can't with this anymore. And it's only 30 games into the Suns season. 30 games.
Yeah.
And this might be an overreaction, but I mean, how could it be? This guy Bradley Beal's gonna be out 3 more weeks.
Yeah.
And who's gonna sit here? Who's gonna sit here? What dumbass fan is gonna sit here? Oh, I said there's probably gonna be thousands of them. Oh, we'll just rest them for the playoffs. It's like, that makes any sense. So they're gonna play 5 games with each other in the regular season, and then you're gonna expect them just to be the USA Olympic team coming in the playoffs. It's bad. It's really bad. And Bradley Beal is one of many examples in the NFL and the NBA, excuse me, that you have players that steal money, they ruin organizations, they're not putting any product on the court for them. It's so frustrating. It's so entirely frustrating, especially when you're a fan of that team.
Yeah. I mean, Z, you pretty much hit on the head, and Z and I we talk about this quite a bit because it's something that's just a continual problem in the NBA. If you guys saw a little split few seconds of a little bit of a lag there, I changed my Wi-Fi to my Wi-Fi extender, just so there was no interruption. So with just the NBA, this is exactly why the NBA, I'm not going to say the NBA is dying, but this is just why the NBA is just a bad product. And you're going to have NBA fans out there. You're going to have these NBA fan accounts out there that think that the NBA is just in such a great spot with the in-season tournament, and Adam Silver is bringing more competition to the league with that. I mean, heck, how many players didn't even know what was going on in the in-season tournament?
Yep.
Nobody knew what the heck was going on with it. But the NBA, this is exactly why it's just in the place it's in. You have guys like what Z said. You have a players' league of where players run the league. Players have the owners by the balls. And when a player's not happy, when a player wants to go somewhere, they honestly just dictate where they go ultimately. And it's ridiculous. These guys get paid all these millions of dollars to when they're disgruntled to not play, when they're feeling a little sore, tired to rest. Guys that are just so injury prone and just still get their full paychecks. And I'm sure probably want to be out there, but still are content with not playing. Still being content with, oh, it's okay. You know, I'm out a few weeks. Like, yeah, I wish I'd play, but I'm satisfied. That's problem. Like you can look back in years prior of guys that would play through injuries. Like, Z, you're telling me there's a Kobe Bryant mentality in today's NBA right now?
Not one player.
Not one player. Absolutely not.
No.
Not one player.
Not one player.
Not one. Not one. You're telling me there's a Kevin Garnett mentality out there?
Jaylen Brown. Yeah, Jaylen Brown. Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Not a Kobe Bryant mentality. No.
Not at all. Not at all. Kevin Garnett mentality in the NBA? No. It's non-existent. The NBA is full of babies. The NBA is full of guys who just want to take their time off and put in the bare minimum half the time. This isn't every player, but a lot of superstars, a lot of more higher end talent in the NBA. And these guys play 82 games a year and go on vacation for half of it.
Yep.
Kawhi Leonard's another guy. Can't stand him. I loved Kawhi Leonard when he was in Toronto. I thought that he was bringing something different to the league a little bit with that and had a great run there. But the guy doesn't want to play. You can say, oh, well, he's hurt all the time. Well, how about all the times when he's medically clear to play and he rests?
I'll never forget that season when he was just out like the whole year.
Yeah, he just sitting out the whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah, collecting
racking up checks and racking up checks.
Racking up checks. But yeah, the low management thing's ridiculous in the NBA. And I don't understand why, like with the Suns, why they thought this was a great idea. Because how many times in sports do teams sell the house to go get star talent and it ever works out to how you want it to work out?
Right.
It never works out. And you have the Suns. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead, Z.
Because I've said this name before, and I've maybe said it on the channel, is the Suns were in a whole different state, a state of bringing the league back, bringing their fan base back in the way of the talent they built. They got to the finals. They lost the finals, but the next year they had the best record in the league. Sure, two straight more years they lost the second round, but it's the name of the game. Like, guess what? There's 15 other teams in the playoffs trying to win the finals. So the Suns built respect of developing their own talent, bringing in veterans, because that's what makes a great team. And because they couldn't take that final step of winning a championship, they fell into the trap, bringing in a new owner. I don't dislike the owner they have, but bringing in a new culture of now we're going to fall into the NBA trap of needing a big three, having zero bench, literally an exact resemblance of what the Brooklyn Nets were with Harden, Durant, and Kyrie.
Exact resemblance.
And now the fan base has fallen into it, and it's just a really, really bad. I watch a Suns game. Like, I mean, I see no old school jerseys. I see no Steve Nash jerseys. I don't see Booker, Durant. I see people wearing freaking collared shirts. Like the fans are just The fans are just
People
not
are just
vested.
thinking Talking Stick Casino.
Yep. The fans are just simply not invested.
No, they're not. And you had the Suns hire a defensive head coach when
Don't get me started on that. Don't get me
complete
started on
offensive
that.
team. Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. It's an offensive roster.
Yep.
What are you going and signing a Frank Vogel for?
Yep.
Frank Vogel's horrific. Frank Vogel's been passed around like freaking Betty on the streets.
Yep.
Let's just put it that way. But when you're the Suns and you sell the farm, you sell the house for star talent and Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, and how, like as I said before, it never works out and you winning what you want to win, but also these guys end up never playing together.
Mm-hmm.
The Brooklyn Nets with Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, how many games they play together? Not many. You're already 30 plus games in on the season, and these guys have played what, 1 or 2 games together at the most?
Yep.
And it was funny because Z and I were online playing together, like gaming, and Bradley Beal was back in the lineup that night, and it was their first or second game playing together. And Z asked me how many games on the year, over under like 30 and a half games that they all play together.
Yeah.
We both said the under, and literally probably about a good 15, 20 minutes later, I told Z Bradley Beal was out for the game.
Yep.
With an ankle sprain.
So just to pick up on that real quick, there's gonna be a couple of comebacks that are always gonna come with that. One, people are gonna say, "Oh, DiVincenzo, it was a dirty play." What? Just standing there defending him?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna deny it wasn't a dirty play, but I mean, still, I mean, it's just the nature of the sport. I mean, I mean, God, Draymond put freaking Rudy Gobert in a headlock for Christ's sake, and you know, and then two, you know, everyone's got different opinions on different players. You know, like something about Kawhi, for an example. Like he's gained a little bit of respect for me this year because he's been balling the whole entire year, and I think he's played like every single game. Right. So like I'm not saying just like his legacy or his career. I'm just saying year by year, player by player, people are gonna have different opinions on. Like Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard was a guy that I lost respect for the last like 2 years because he just never played, right? And the guy signed like a freaking $300 million contract with the Portland Trailblazers. So it's like, everyone's gonna have different opinions on each player. I think Kawhi himself has started to gain back what he was, but yeah, no, I mean, just piggybacking off, you know, just the Phoenix Suns in general, because I don't care about Kyrie on the Mavericks. You know, I don't care about Chris Paul being on the Warriors. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you guys want us to talk about Draymond Green, I'm not going to, because him being suspended indefinitely is really all you need to know about. About that guy's head.
It was definitely the right decision. And that guy has some sense of CTE or something like that. I don't know what it is. But with the Suns, continuing with the Suns honestly kind of had like the perfect formula going. They had their own development, their own talent. Booker, Ayton, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges. You bring in a Cameron Payne from overseas who fit in well. And then you bring in Chris Paul to upgrade your point guard position and facilitate that entire offense. A veteran presence around some of this younger talent. And it goes great. Like, yeah, you lost the finals, and then the next couple years you lose in the playoffs, but still, you couldn't have really asked for it to really have gone better ultimately. And now you decided to move on from Chris Paul, which I'll say was the right move. Like Chris Paul just wasn't effective after those few years, and it was time to go on. But then you trade your young talent for Kevin Durant and try to make a big move. And now you bring in Bradley Beal, and then you trade Ayton, and you bring in Nurkic from Portland, and then you bring in Drew Eubanks off free agency, and then you bring in Grayson Allen. You make a trade for Grayson Allen. You bring Eric Gordon in free agency, and now this whole entire team is not organically through your own system. This is a team that is completely just bought.
Right.
And most of the time when you just buy your rosters, unless you're in baseball, it doesn't work out. It doesn't go well. And you can go back to all these teams that have done that. Other than, I guess, the Miami Heat in 2010, I mean, heck, you can look at the Lakers when they got Dwight Howard and had Paul Gasol and had Steve Nash. You can look at the Brooklyn Nets, like we said. You can look at the Houston Rockets when they acquired Chris Paul and James Harden, and that was a mess. You can look at the Sixers from last year when they acquired James Harden and had him. The list goes on and on in the sense
a lot of this
of
has to do with James Harden because he's the biggest joke in the NBA.
Well, yeah, he's a cancer at the end of the day. But there's just a lot of teams over the last 8 to 10 years that have tried this type of formula, and it has not worked out the way that they expected it to work out.
Yeah.
And that's what made the NBA so good back in the day, is because you didn't have teams trying to sell their farm to acquire top talent. You had guys who drafted guys and developed into their own players and became stars in the league, and then they surrounded those stars with guys that could help them succeed. That's why you saw the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference so competitive. That's why you saw a freaking 50-win team in the Western Conference miss the playoffs.
Yep. And just to say something on that real quick, where like there are I'll say a very small handful of teams in the NBA that I actually do highly respect based off the way they built their team. The Timberwolves be the number 1 seed, right? You drafted Edwards, you drafted Towns, and you didn't go, Naz Reid, many other guys, freaking plain runway Anderson. I don't know,
Yeah,
so
plain runway.
yeah.
Oh my God.
And I like the way they do it because the veterans they bring in are not superstar names. Mike Conley,
Right.
Rudy Gobert. With the Celtics, you drafted and developed Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. You bring in veterans that are not household names. Drew Holiday, Porzingis, right? Al Horford. Like the way that they build their teams is appropriate, and the Suns were a part of that group. And let me just give you either or here, and you tell me either one you want today, as of right now, right? Would you rather have 4 players in your starting lineup: Booker, Bridges, Johnson, Ayton, who, let's just say on average, those 4 players 26 years old, all right? And you have a bench with those veterans like I named for Minnesota, Boston, Philadelphia today, right? You had veterans like Jameson Crowder. You had veterans like Dario Saric. You had veterans like Chris Paul.
Right.
Or would you rather have a big 3 and Durant, Beal, Booker on average, which is maybe 32 years of age, and now those reserve players you have outside of Eric Gordon, who's also 34, outside of Grayson Allen, who doesn't do shit, right? Oh, Nasir Little, Bol, where's his brain? Where's his brain at? God, who else am I forgetting here? Yeah, Drew Eubanks.
Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen. That me too. Whoever that is, Bates Diop. And which would you rather have?
It's easily the first option.
It's easily
the first option. You're young. You guys have played together. You have that chemistry, and you have veteran presence on your roster to help your young talent. And then that young talent starts to transition into veteran guys, and then they become established. You can trade for veteran guys that hardly play, that are always injured. Kevin Durant's had since 2019. He's been struggling with injuries. Bradley Beal plays 50 games a year. What kind of recipe is that for success? Then you bring in Frank Vogel. Out of all names.
Do you think they'd be in a much better position if they just decided to stick with Booker and Durant as their 1A, 1B and build around that part?
Yeah, they probably would, because then they would, like, it would just be more well balanced. I still think to this day, like, I was fine moving off Chris Paul, but I think even if you just upgraded at point guard, like, let's say you never traded for Kevin Durant, you kept Booker, you had Bridges, you had Cam Johnson. Let's say you still stuck with Ayton, or you could even upgrade at center if you wanted to do that. And then you built your bench off of guys that have played in this league. You built your bench off guys that fit in well with your offense, and then you upgrade a point guard. You go get a strong point guard. I'd much rather have that roster.
The issue is like, compared to other sport leagues, NFL, I would definitely say NHL, and you can maybe say the MLB, is that continuity doesn't exist in the NBA. It just flat out doesn't. Right?
No, it doesn't.
And owners are money desperate. They're desperate to win, just like anybody would be, right? But there's no patience, there's no continuity, there's no like, damn, like we missed the finals this year, we lost the second round the last 2 years, instant change.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, why do you have to literally flip the whole entire earth for you to think that you're gonna win two more games to win the finals, and I have to get rid of everybody except Booker and Josh Okogie?
Yeah. Well, Z, I really don't know, and I felt like too that maybe the owner wanted to come in and just make a big splash and bring star power in and make a big splash of getting more excitement. But yeah, I know. So great.
Oh man.
But it doesn't work. It truly does not work. So they're in a predicament of where they're gonna finish as the 5 seed in the West.
If even
that, and they're gonna be a disappointment. And then they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board, but they're stuck, dude. They're stuck with Beal. They're stuck with that deal. They're stuck with Durant. So, and then now you have 3 max contracts to those guys. How much money are you ultimately going to be able to use in free agency? That's exactly why their free agency this year, you couldn't really go out and get established role players. You had to go out and get Drew Eubanks and Jop, or not Jop, freaking Me Too and Bates Jop or whatever his name is, and you had to go get Nasir Little, all these worthless role players.
Yep.
And you're going to be stuck in that position again next year.
Yep. Yeah.
And now you have no draft picks.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Ed and I grew up Suns fans. And by the way, again, another perfect example. Sean Marion, a Suns legend. Called the Matrix. If he would just put in the Suns Ring of Honor. If he was playing the NBA today, not one person would respect him. Not one single person.
No, because he doesn't shoot 3-pointers.
No,
because he's not a shooter. Yeah.
And the thing is, like, there's been some funny moments in the NBA this season that Ed and I laugh about and like actually pay attention to, like Draymond putting somebody in a headlock, like Draymond swinging a fist at Nurkic. It seems like anything I'll say would revolve around Draymond Green. But we just simply want what's best for the NBA. It's very far away from what it could and should be, which is a shame.
And I thought there was a little bit of hope for that, Z. After
definitely.
COVID, I thought there was a little bit of hope in that because it was starting to get balanced again. Some of the younger talent was starting to develop and come into their own, and it was starting to become unpredictable. The league was actually a little exciting, and now it's not scaling back in. You have your in-season tournament again. You're going to have there's been talks with the winner, future-wise, the winner of the in-season tournament is going to have an automatic playoff spot. I don't know if you saw that one or not.
I did.
But there's talk on that. And again, you have teams like the Suns and a few like the Clippers and guys out there. Again, you're just bringing some of this big talent in, and to me, it's killing the league.
Yeah. Bradley Beal, get healthy. Jesus, just get healthy, right? And please, for just the love of God, just stay on the court for. Do I dare say the rest of the season? No,
you don't.
Because you're going to be out another month, which is going to be how many games? 15, 20 games. So
I mean, Z, they're going to be more than halfway in the season come that point.
Yeah, I know. Right?
You have 2.5 months left after that. Let's say he comes back in the middle of January. You have the rest of that month, February, March, and then half of April.
And that by the way, and that's the biggest if in the universe if all 3 of those players play.
If all 3 of them are on the court. Dude, it's Brooklyn Nets all over again. That's what it is. It's Brooklyn Nets all over again. You have 3-star guys that don't play together, that aren't on the court together, and you fill your roster with mediocre talent to surround them, and you fail in the playoffs.
Because it was the same way last season with the way they traded for Durant. I'm not anti Kevin Durant. I do like him, of course, but it was just the same way when they traded everything last season for him, in the way of like it was only Booker Durant, and that's why they couldn't get past the Nuggets. And now it's the same way around this year, but it's even worse because you don't have Ayton and you don't have Chris Paul, right? Oh, but we got Grayson Allen. Yeah. Okay.
The guy already has great hair.
Yeah, I know. Just send him back to Milwaukee. Like, it's just the most just random put together team, and there's so many teams in the NBA you can say that are randomly put together, especially the Clippers, right? I mean, God, we won't even get into that.
Yeah,
sure. Listen, let us know your guys' thoughts on that.
That's the reality of the NBA. Still, the NBA has taken steps backwards when it was starting to move forward again, and that's the reality of some of these teams, especially the Suns, because they're kind of the big talking point right now with that. So
do you think there's like let's say like I don't know like a number to put on it. Let's say like 5,000. Would you say there's over 5,000 fans that went and bought a Bradley Beal jersey?
Oh God, I mean definitely. Definitely 5,000 Suns fans. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's bad. Imagine buying a Beal jersey.
It's terrible. I'd rather just wear Raja Bell.
Yeah, you're right. It's almost as bad as then buying a Chris Archer jersey.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Archer was pretty bad, but the thing with Chris Archer, to my defense, was that it actually it didn't work out, but it did bring a little excitement because the Pirates actually did something that they never did, and so I just kind of bought into it because we don't have any that just never happens. So, but didn't work out, typical. Yeah. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see freaking
enjoy Rowdy.
Marco Gonzalez start the home opener. So.
Marco Gonzalez, Rowdy Tellez.
Yeah, Rowdy.
Jared
definitely going to get Rowdy. Yes,
it
might as well bring him back. Might as well. Just a dead franchise.
I think that's going to do it for Ed and I. We're approaching 1:00 here, so we're going to watch some NFL games. I got three and a half hours, so I got to drive over to Jacksonville.
Big fantasy implications today, Z.
Big day.
Huge.
Big day.
This is a trip to the finals for me. Jericho and I, it's looking pretty tight. It's looking pretty tight. Yep. So we'll see if we can get some big games. Lamb, Diggs, they play each other. ETN plays tonight, so I need those guys to do it.
I'll be watching then. I'll be watching. And finally made a franchise turning year. I predict him to win the division, but I did predict him to make the playoffs. I did.
Yeah,
I did. And didn't predict himself making the playoffs.
That's the first time. Geez, when's the last time I had a winning record in my league? Because
I don't know, it was 7-7 every year.
Yeah. It's usually how it goes. Because I think in my league, because I've had this league for 7-8 years now. We started this league in 2016.
It's dwindling down.
Yep. So my we always have four teams make the playoffs. Yeah. And looking at
not
my
8.
Numbers, not 8, not 10, not 6. No, we have 4. I wanted to try to get to 5, but 3 teams would have had a bye in the first round for whatever reason. And I couldn't change it. But my all-time record, not counting this season, is 46-46-1. So if that tells you that it's just 500 city, then
Atlanta. Oh man.
I know. So seasons played 7. So this is the eighth year of the league. But going back, my record wise from last year, I went 6-8. So had a losing record. And then the year before that, we were 7-7. And then we were 7-6, 7-6 again. And then we did go 8-5 in 2018, and I did lose in the finals that year to Nick.
I don't remember that, but all right.
Yep. Second place, I did lose to Nick. Nick won it that year, but we weren't doing it for money yet.
Yeah, that was the last non-money year.
Yeah, that was the last non-money year. 2017, I went 5-7-1. That was Z's first win in the league at 8-5.
Yep.
And then my first year, I went 6-7. So it's pretty much been 500, a game under 500, maybe one winning season. But I told Z the rebuild was over. We're going in a different direction in the way we draft, and it's paid off. But hopefully we can get over the hump today.
Yep, trying to make a ring of the city and try to raise a banner.
Yeah, we are, because we know the Steelers won't be doing it for a while.
No, they won't be. So I think that's gonna be it for night. We have big fantasy implications. I didn't make the playoffs, in case you guys are wondering. The 3-time champ in the league did not make the playoffs. It is what it is.
Definitely Z's worst year in the league.
I'm battling for 5th place, which if that's my worst season, batting for 5th place, that says a lot about my culture.
Yep, and Z is also playing for his draft pick next year,
for my draft pick.
The winner the winner of the consolation bracket does get to pick their draft pick.
Yep, I was a pretty nice implement.
Yep, it keeps
implication
you
that
we've
added
playing for something. So you might not get the money, but you're going to be able to get an opportunity next year.
We'll be back next week. Endo's going to be back. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Yep.
You guys will probably see this either today or tomorrow. So we'll see you guys next time. Maybe next time, and I'll have that green screen up. And maybe I'll have a shaved head. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, Z, for your New Year's resolution should be just doing away with string cheese. that should honestly be it. But if we're back after Christmas, we will have an upgraded studio, and we will be having a whole new setup here on my end. So if you do not see us before Christmas, Merry Christmas to everybody. It's the best time of the year. And hopefully you guys enjoy the time with your families. So I will be making Christmas cookies tonight. So we will see you guys next time. Thanks for coming.